Initially, I just saw some potential. And I've always been skeptical, so I confirmed his credentials. And after confirming his credentials, my heart started to desire that type of man. I went from wanting that type of man to wanting that type of him. And he had me convinced that his heart was in a ditch. So I was determined that if I ever got the chance, I would fix all the broken pieces that he had in his life. I would do my best to make him right. And then I caught him at a point where she had really ticked him off. Came in and showed him what his life would be like if he let me be a part. And well, he did. And I was on cloud nine for a few months of my life with him by my side. Everything seemed right. 3 or 4 times a week I'd show up at his shows. I would get off work tired and still I would go. I was cooking and cleaning and washing his clothes. I was being his wife when he hadn't proposed. And no one could have told me I didn't need what I desired. And so my simple desire turned into a simple admire. And because I admired, it sparked a needed fire that really wasn't meant for me. You see, somehow that fire burned in my soul when at the time I didn't know it was because the enemy had control. It was his way of getting back into my life, making me break my promise to God like that was all right. I was caught up in my flesh, but my flesh was left empty when I woke up the morning after and he wasn't there with me. You see, my guards were let down, and I'm supposed to guard my heart. I was trying to build a team for God while letting the enemy be a part. But see, that's not how God operates. I couldn't have my cake and eat it too. I couldn't live in my flesh and God live in me too. So God decided to intervene, came in and destroyed what at the time to me meant everything. Told me to stop praying those one-sided prayers, to stop pleading my case and quickly saying amen before he even got a chance to tell me that my desire wasn't his plan. Before he even got a chance to say, for you, I want more. I get up off my knees and walk out of my door. And I was wondering why I never got a reply to the things that I would pray when things didn't feel right. But I was blinded by my flesh and I was tricked by his touch. I didn't know that in the end those things wouldn't mean much. So God took me through a storm. He let the thunder roar for 7 days and 7 nights. I hurt more and more and more. I felt I lost my dream. I felt I lost my life. And all God kept saying is, he's not your husband. You're not his wife. Because it wasn't meant for me. And at the end of 7 days, God said, you'll hurt no more. If you redirect your focus, I'll give you back your joy. You see, God needed my attention. He needed me whole. He had to get me to realize that for this man, I put my life on hold. And God wasn't pleased with the decision that I had made. I neglected my ministry and I neglected my goals because I wanted to be his rose. But see, a seed won't blossom if it's not watered consistently, and a rose will die if its water isn't pure. And he was filling up my vase with a lot of unsure because his love was still with her. See, technically I stole what wasn't mine, had him leave in a chapter before it was time. So God took him from me and he gave him right back, told me that what's meant for me won't have doubts like that. And this was all for my good. I went from break up to break down to break through. I was knocked down to my knees so that I could stand again, this time on something that God wants me to be in. And he's simply making me what he wants me to be so that I can no longer want what isn't meant for me.